Woo! What's going on, guys? Arnold Swarm coming with another video. Who's your favorite YouTuber that's behind on every video? This guy right here. We're still doing the Lions training camp observations. This is for day 10. I know it was a couple days ago. So I'll do this one, day 10. There was one yesterday, day 11, but it was closed off to the media. I'm not sure if the fans were able to go there, but I've seen no reports out there from day 11. But there was a day 12 today, being on Wednesday. Happy birthday to my baby girl, by the way. She turns 13 today. Unbelievable. So, been busy doing stuff like that. My wife taking care of everything, and love her to death. But this is day 10 from a couple days ago. Day 11 won't be done because there's no video. There's no real information getting put out there. Like I said, close off to the media. Not sure if the fans were there day 11. That was yesterday. And day 12 is today. And then they get on a plane and they go to Atlanta. I believe they're in Atlanta. And they, I don't know what that stadium's called. Citibank? It's a complete guess. But yeah, so I'm going to be behind just one video after this. Unbelievable. I thought I was going to be behind big. But let's get down to the nitty gritty. Thanks to guys like John Macaron, Tim Twentyman, Jeff Risden, Jeremy Reisman, all those guys, putting stuff out. Eric Schlitt, just putting all the information out so I could give it to you guys and learn a little bit, and you learn a little bit. We discuss, we comment, we have our little opinions. So, and that's it. But the Lions got in an evening practice. They were usually doing morning practices. It was a later practice a couple days ago. The sun was setting, so that's a really nice red zone, short yardage. The intensity was a little bit up. So who's in, who's out? We got some news out. Cornerback Terrion Arnold still got that hamstring injury. We're going to be taking it easy with him for a bit. Out cornerback Enos Rakestraw Jr. with the shoulder. Head coach Dan Campbell saying out for a while, quote unquote. My guess he's going to be out, obviously out for a while, but I don't expect this guy back for months. This is what happens when you draft 170-pound defensive backs, and I'm not ripping on Holmes for it, but man, this is a guy that was injured in college, and I don't understand how you think he's not going to be injured in the pro level, man, at 170 plus pounds. So Rakestraw he's going to get that injury tag on him. I think he already does. Hopefully he gets better sooner than later, and he can at least produce. So he had a rough rookie year. Even when he was not healthy, even when he was healthy, he wasn't really dressing as much, but he was hurt a majority, it seemed, of his rookie season. And, and this his second year in, and he's doing the same thing. Hurt in practice. Actually, first, IR. We got some IR news, a doubt for the season. Rookie safety Dan Jackson, 7th round pick out of Georgia Bulldog. Leg injury, he's done for the season, not coming back. So that's another guy hurt in practice. With Dan Jackson, though, I wasn't sure he was going to make that 53 anyways, to be perfectly honest with you. Not that he's a bad football player, but he was in a little bit deep at the safety position. I know safety 4 was kind of wide open right now, and he was in that mix, but he wasn't really showing out really on the field. He's a good special teamers. Don't get me wrong, but I think there were some guys ahead of him. So he's going to be a guy next year that's going to need to improve. He's going to need to come out fire in 2026 because he's done 2025. Then hurt in practice. It was an intense practice. Guys went down again. Rookie wide receiver Dominic Lovett. He had an ab injury. Defensive lineman Pat O'Connor with a leg injury. And offensive tackle Jamarco Jones, who's been having a pretty good camp, had an ankle injury as well. So the offensive tackle situation's getting thinner and thinner. Decker coming back, limited. Skipper got hurt in that Hall of Fame game. Jamarco Jones now. You got Giovanni Manu. They picked up Justin Herron. So they're thin at offensive tackle. So those guys got hurt in practice. And then tight end Kenny Yeboah came back for personal reasons. Don't know what's going on with him. And then nose tackle Broderick Martin was out. Undisclosed, question mark, don't know what was going on with him. Some saying that it was a surprise kind of absence from practice. Nobody knows what's going on with him. So the defense was shining in the one-on-ones. Hutch pushing back Sewell. Davenport knocking the helmet off Jamarco Jones before he got hurt. Defensive end, Al-Quadda Muhammad beat Mason Miller. Giovanni Manu losing to O'Connor and Mitchell Agude on 2 reps. Then Hutch beating... Who did Hutch beat? He beat someone on his signature spin move. I think, I didn't write the guy's name. Hutch beating Jones. Sorry, my writing's terrible, guys. Hutch beating Jones, so Jamarco Jones on his signature spin move. And Bubba's barking. That happens. Reed forced an incompletion to Raymond. Branch tight coverage on Amon-Ra St. Brown. Nice overthrow. Not a nice overthrow, but an overthrow from Forced. The offense did have some standouts, though. Wide receiver Tom Kennedy had 3 straight wins. Deep shot by Hooker being one of them. Good to hear that. Tom Kennedy, practice squad guy. Then, speaking of going deep, Goff to Raymond. It was a 60 yards in the air from the 20 to the other 20. Maurice Norris in coverage. It hit Raymond right in the buckets. Caught it. Touchdown. Unbelievable throw. Goff can throw the deep ball. He can. He was the second leading quarterback in the NFL last year. Number 2 for throwing the ball over 21 yards, I believe. So anything considered over 20 yards and up and more is considered a deep ball. So he was number 2 with his accuracy. He had a high passer rating, like 105, 106, maybe even better. He was well up there. So I know we rip on Goff because of his arm strength, but he can chuck it when he wants to. He doesn't have the arm, obviously, of guys like, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. We know this. We know that, but he does have a strong arm. Hooker was on the second team. Hooker's getting a chance on Friday. Probably start the whole first half. He had an incompletion to Yeboah at the tight end, and he had 2 straight completions, one to Zylstra and one to Yeboah, so hitting the tight ends there. O-line, a little bit of shuffling going on. Like I said, Decker limited, Skipper out. Jones left early. Manu on the left tackle. First team, Manu, who's struggling, by the way. Manu's struggling big time. He was struggling as a second and third guy. Now he's even struggling more. Mahogany at left guard, Glasgow center, Ratledge right guard, Sewell right tackle. So, Decker, hurry up, get back. Davenport did have a sack off Manu as well on the first team. Second team O-line was Mason Miller and Justin Herron at the tackle positions. My guess is Herron was at left, Miller was at right. It could have switched, though. And then Awosika and Mutai at guards, and then Egwaquin at the center position. So they're really trying to get Egwaquin acclimated to that second team center. It sounds like, I think he's still in a little bit of a competition with Michael Neese, but I haven't heard Neese's name in a while. They did put Mason Miller and Justin Herron on the third team as well because they're so thin right now. Sorzel was playing some offensive tackle as well. He's been up and down the old line, playing a lot of guard tackle, a lot of center too as well. So they're trying to get Sorzel in there. Sorzel's been having a better camp as of late. Some short yardage, 7 total, 3rd and 1 reps. Defense won 5 of 7 of these reps. It was a defensive day. Don't get me wrong, the offense did make some plays, but the defense won this day. The rookie, Tyleek Williams, the first-round pick out of Ohio State, is playing is having a good camp, especially in the run fits. He's an elite run defender. If you go and look at his tape, you go read his read-ups on his draft profile, or just watch him. Watch the tape, watch game film, watch whatever you need. Tyleek Williams stops the run. Great feet. He's a load. He's fast. He's faster than you think. His get-off right now is faster than Ali McNeil at this point. Ali McNeil is obviously out, but when the Lions drafted Tyleek Williams, Campbell compared him to Ali McNeil. He's almost like Ali McNeil. He's got the get-off. He fits the run well, extremely well, and he's got some pass rush ability. So Williams is showing out right now. He's looking like a first-round pick. He's starting to get down those pass rush moves as well, but the elite run defending is there. He had 2 stops. He had help from Zach Cunningham and Keith Cooper. Keith Cooper's a guy to keep an eye on. I'll talk about it a little bit later. Those guys had stops as well too. Zach Cunningham and Keith Cooper. They did some red zone action. Hutch really stuffed Monty for a no gainer. The second team came on. Craig Reynolds had a touchdown. Hooker with a touchdown to Laporta. Real nice feet in the back of the end zone for Laporta. Laporta's looked phenomenal, by the way. Laporta got smucked by Grant Stewart on the play, though, but held on to the football. Tesla, the kid can block, man. There's when they drafted him, too, they talked about his ability to be a receiving threat for sure at 6'4", 215 pounds. It's just a no-brainer what they think the kid can be. But they really loved his blocking ability, and they talked about it too. And he had a violent block on newcomer cornerback Nick Whiteside. Just blew him up, and then it was an easy walk-in for Tom Kennedy on a short pass. I believe that was from Hendon Hooker. And then Tesla getting first team looks as well. You know, Tim Patrick, I don't think he's in jeopardy for the wide receiver 3 spot, but it's sounding more and more each day like they're trying to get Tesla, you know, used to the first team, because he's getting a lot of looks. He's getting looks more and more each day. Patrick, you know, is not having the greatest of camps. You know, Campbell kind of came out and said, you know, Patrick's a little too hard on himself. He goes, we know what he's about. He plays big, great hands. He's a leader. He blocks. He does everything you want in a wide receiver 3. He's like, he's a little bit too hard on himself. We like what he's doing out there. But, you know, we want to see more from our vets, obviously. You know what I mean? But Tesla's nipping at his heels. He really is, guys. You asked me 2-3 months ago about Isaac Tesla, and I probably would have told you. I might have. I don't think I made I did make a video of us drafting him, but if I would have made a prediction a couple months ago, and I think we did do a fun thing, not on my video channel, but we did do one. I think in one of our football groups, I would have told you Tesla would have caught 10 balls for 100 yards and a touchdown. I would have told you that 2-3 months ago. Now I think it's going to be a little bit more. I'm not saying it's going to be the focal point of this offense, because there's just too many weapons. You know, like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Laporta, J-Mo, Gibbs, Monty. Those guys are on the hierarchy of target shares, running, catching, whatever, the football over Tesla. But I think Tesla is he's nipping at Patrick's heels. You know, there's people out there that think that Tesla is gonna take over for J-Mo. I don't think that's happening. I still think we're re-signing J-Mo eventually. I know a lot of people don't think he's coming back. I think he is. I think you're gonna see either a J-Mo or a Hutch extension coming up real soon. Because you think about it, guys. Don't talk when you think about extensions. Don't worry about the 2025 money. Okay, if they extend Hutch and J-Mo, it's 2027. I know I'm going off the rails a little bit here. I tend to do that, but if they extend both those players, which I think they're going to, that new money doesn't kick into 2027. Just remember that. So don't think, oh, we can't afford anybody. 2025, we still got $40 million. You know, 35 to 40 million plus dollars. 2026 is a little different story. You know, I'm not a big believer in the cap. I never have been. If you guys know you guys follow my channel, you know, if you're brand new to the channel, welcome. But I'm a big non-believer in the cap. But a lot of GMs aren't. And I think Brad Holmes isn't one of them. He likes to go by the cap. So 2025, we still got money. 2026, we're in the hole. We are in the hole because it's big. Goff's contract starts really loading up. In 2027, we get a boatload of money back. A boatload. It's like 90-something million dollars, maybe more. I could be wrong on that. You know, I'm not going to say the for sure number because I don't really know, but it's a lot of money. So that money wouldn't kick in until 2027. But I digress. You know what I mean? Tesla is having a good camp. He's nipping at Patrick's heels. You know, let's just leave it at that. Then Montgomery had a touchdown run. He had a little bit of a scare prior to that run when Barnes laid a hit on him. He spent some time on the sidelines with trainers. Got everybody a little bit ears up, eyes open. Looking over at Montgomery, thinking he was all right. He's all good though. He came back in the game or the practice. And then running back Jacob Sailors. They got the pickup from the Seattle, the St. Louis Battlehawks. He had a touchdown run. He was one of the better running backs, if not the best running back in the UFL. Situational drills, first team, trailing 24-20, fourth quarter, incompletion from Goff on 2nd and 4, deep to Raymond, Reed with really good coverage, incomplete. It was a 4th down, wobbly interception to Robertson, who believe I intercepted it in the end zone. So, defense wins that one. Didn't really get too many second team, third team options. No talk about Kyle Allen whatsoever. It was mainly about Hooker, and Hooker was kind of a little bit up and down. He's looked good, he looked bad. He's had a good camp. This is the first time we've been able to say this in a long time. He's had a good camp. He was terrible in that preseason game, that Hall of Fame game. So was Kyle Allen. One of these guys needs to step up. So some more notes. McNeil and Wingo were in the house. They were just watching practice though, but they were there. Good to see those guys supporting their boys. Avante Maddox and Rock Yassin with PBUs, pass breakups each. Maddox was on Amon-Ra St. Brown. So Maddox is the guy that we picked up who's extremely versatile, Super Bowl champion. I believe he's a Detroit native too. Don't quote me on that. But he's a guy that can play everywhere. He's got the safety 3 locked up in case Branch or Kirby go down. And he can play in the nickel, the slot, the outside corner if needed. He's a very extremely versatile kid. Then Vaikai was showing some speed off. Hammy looks healed up. He's really nice in the pass game. Sione Vaikai, he has great hands. He's showing some speed out there. Hammy looks healed. Notes, more handles. Jack Campbell did have a fumble recovery, and Anzalone had an interception. It was a ball thrown by Goff. Apparently. Kirby Joseph broke on it. I think it was intended for Laporta. The way they described it was you can see the ball hawking ability of Kirby Joseph is so evident because Laporta looked apparently wide open and Kirby just broke on it. Got his hands on it, missed the pick, ball went up into the air, and he intercepted the football. And the rest is Anzalone intercepted the football. Now keep an eye on this player too. This is coming from a beat writer. I think it was Tim Twentyman or Jeff Risen, can't remember. This defensive lineman Keith Cooper Jr. He's making plays and he's playing up and down the D line. He's playing that 4-eye, that 5-tech, inside, outside. They want an inside presence. He's 6'5", 280 pounds, and he's looking more and more like he's going to be a roster guy, but it's a long way to go. He's a UDFA, so they have tougher roads, but he's getting better. He's getting more and more looks. Keep an eye on Keith Cooper Jr. More Vaikai new second team looks with Reynolds. So how they got Gibbs and Monty out there. They got Vaikai and Craig Reynolds out on the second team together as well. But Vaikai's cuts are sharper. The power is there. He looks good. He did fumble on one drive. It was a dive play, but he jumped on the ball, so he got the ball back. Guys that got nicked up during practice, Hutchinson got nicked up a little bit. Don't know what the injury was, but he came back. Glasgow came back. Brock Wright came back. Montgomery, we talked about that. They all came back. They all returned. But, you got to be careful with guys like Hutch and Glasgow, man. We have to be careful. And Montgomery and Brock Wright. He's our tight end, too. So guys are getting a little bit banged up out there. Be careful. And the run D, like I said, is dominating. The defensive tackles, the linebackers, and the DBs, they're all dialed in. The O-line, no real push. Mahogany got a little bit of push. Sewell sometimes, but other than that, nothing. It was the one thing I was concerned about with the offense. Are they going to be able to run the ball like they have in the past with guys like Ragnow and Zeitler gone? They haven't been able to run inside very well. And that's credit to guys like Tyleek Williams and DJ Reader. It's not just we can't do it. I'm not worried about Mahogany. I'm not worried about Sewell. I'm not worried about those guys. I'm not worried about Decker so much. Decker is decent though, but it's almost time for change with him. I'm worried more about the inside. I'm worried about guys like I said, I'm not too worried about Mahogany because he's a monster. I'm worried about Ratledge and Glasgow. I really am. Ratledge is a rookie. I know he's a beast. He's a big kid. Glasgow's getting older. I think he's declining. We need him to be serviceable. Are they going to be? So, but the run defense is dominating right now, and that's stopping guys like Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, which is no easy task. But you have to have a O-line to do that. And they need, to get better at blocking. And I'm sure they will. But it is a concern, just a tad. Now the kick return, they got Grant Stewart out there again as well. They're still trying to see what this kid can do. He did it in college. Apparently, he didn't really. I don't think he did it as a Colt, but he did it in college. Doesn't have much vision though, according to one beat writer. Instead of cutting towards the kicker, where he had an open field with a kicker, one-on-one, he just ran into a pile of guys. That's just a linebacker mentality, just run into a pile. He doesn't have much vision. I guess Ronnie Bell and Tom Kennedy, they had a solid rep each as well. Raymond and Vikai took reps. Raymond's our guy. Raymond's going to be the kick returner, punt returner, I believe. Punt returner for sure, Khalif Raymond. They might switch it up a little bit on the kick return. Maybe you might see some Vikai. Khalil Dorsey was a guy that they looked at before too, but he's banged up right now. So, there's a couple of guys that are sitting there waiting in the wings. Maybe Ronnie Bell, but I don't think he makes the team. No real vision with Vikai either as well too. And apparently Grant Stewart looks faster than Vikai. I got to see it to believe it. Then Mason Miller, the UDFA, he's had a rough camp. He's had a pretty rough camp, which usually that's going to happen like that because he's UDFA. He had a really technically sound day a couple days ago on day 10. So finally had a really nice day. He drew a draw with Isaac Ukwu, and then he beat Zach Cunningham, who's a savvy vet linebacker. So that's really good for him. He's developing hopefully. And then Muhammad, he had a nice day too. He won some reps and he played solid on run defense as well. Ronnie Bell, some more Ronnie Bell news. The ex-Michigan Wolverine, nice route running. He caught a really nice low ball. Well, he caught a low ball from Hendon Hooker. Scooped it up and got the yak afterwards. They did some read option looks too as well with Hooker. Obviously, burned Anzalone on one rep. The Anzalone got him back on a tackle for loss a little bit later. So the read option is going to be an option. It's going to be out there if Hooker is ever in there. It's never going to be the option with Goff. He's not. There's no read option with him. He's throwing the football or handing it off. It's not going to be. There'll be a play action. There'll be play action, but Goff's not doing no read options. Right? Faking the handoff and then running. It's just not going to happen. Some more notes. DB Eric Hallett and safety rookie Ian Kennelly got some first team looks. We're kind of thin right now in the secondary due to injuries. Kennelly struggled, but did have a nice coverage rep on Laporta. Forced Goff to go somewhere else with the football, so that's a good look on him. Another guy that's struggling. He's not struggling to make the team, but he's a guy that's kind of deep. He's in conversation for that safety 4 position. I think he's really going to have to show out on the field, play special teams well, to get more looks. Gibbs, looking like number 20 out there. If you guys know who I think number 20 is, it's my favorite football player of all time, is Barry Sanders. Got a huge poster of him over here. I got a couple things going on with Barry, and I'll show you one day. I got some stuff going on over here, back here, not really here. That's my movie stuff. That's my horror conventions. And then I need to do a lot more stuff here, but I got Barry all over the place here. One of my favorite football players, if not my favorite football player, him and Lawrence Taylor were my 2 favorite football players growing up as a kid. So I guess Gibbs is looking out there, looking like number 20. I guess he left Maurice Norris jockstrap sitting on the field on a juke. He had nowhere to go, Gibbs. He was stuck. He did a little stutter step cut, and he just, he dusted. He dusted Maurice Norris, man, left him in the clouds. And that's really it, guys. Well, no, there's some stuff here. Let me get to this right here. Tuesday's practice, like I said, day 11 was a walkthrough, closing the media. Don't know much about what's going on with the fans. I haven't seen anything online though, so maybe it was just completely closed off the media and the fans. For sure, the media though. We did have some signings. Since our DBs are dropping like flies, we've signed a ton of DBs so far. They signed cornerback Luke Barku, last played with, I believe, Jacksonville. He did have 9 interceptions for San Diego State. That's back in 2019. This guy's played for the Cardinals, the Chiefs, the 49ers, the Jets, Steelers, the Cowboys. But I think he's only gotten stats with Jacksonville. So, he's an older guy, been around a little bit. Not ancient, but he's been around a little bit, and in his late 20s, I believe. We'll see what happens there. Then they signed cornerback DJ Miller, Michigan Panther, UFL guy. They did injury waive running back Kyle Robichaux, and they did waive defensive lineman Raekwon Williams. If you recognize that name, that's a Michigan State Spartan. He's a Sparty. So no more Sparties on the team. We just got a couple Wolverines. And that's it, guys. That's day 10 in the books. Day 10 in the books. Day 11, there's going to be no video because there just was no info. And I'll try to get day 12. I'll try to get day 12, which was today, as soon as I can. It's not coming anytime soon, though. Probably tomorrow. Maybe tonight if I get lucky. So thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate you guys coming in, watching the video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button at the bottom right. Don't forget to hit the bell up top, bing, bing. Don't forget to like, comment, share this out. What do you guys think, guys? In the books, day 10. Day 10. Close it up. It's done. So thanks a lot, guys. Grit, hunting season is upon us. Let's go. Boom.